Travis Kelce raises both hands high in the air and flashes an apologetic smile to the roaring crowd at the stadium as hundreds of Chiefs fans erupt in a chorus of chants that echo through every corner of the venue, demanding to see Taylor Swift. The tight end finds himself in the unusual position of having to acknowledge the elephant in the room, or rather the pop superstar who isn't in the room. As he jogs across the field during warm-ups before the highly anticipated Chiefs versus Lions matchup. The atmosphere is electric, but not entirely for the reasons the coaching staff might have hoped. Because while Kansas City faithful are known for their passionate support of their team on this particular day, a significant portion of that passion is directed towards someone who isn't even wearing a jersey. Kelce, being the charismatic veteran that he is, knows exactly what is happening. As the chants grow louder and more persistent, with fans leaning over railings and waving signs adorned with references to the global pop icon, he pauses mid-stride and turns toward the section where the noise is loudest before throwing his hands up in that universal gesture of surrender that seems to say, "I hear you, I understand, and I'm sorry she's not here today." The crowd responds with a mixture of laughter and good-natured groans because even though they are disappointed, they can't help but appreciate the way Kelce handles the situation with humor and grace, turning what could have been an awkward moment into something that actually brings everyone closer together in shared amusement and anticipation for the game ahead, even if some of that anticipation is still tinged with hope that Swift might make a surprise appearance at some point during the afternoon. But as the minutes tick down toward kickoff, it becomes increasingly clear that the Eras Tour sensation will not be gracing the stands with her presence this time around. Fans begin to refocus their energy on the players who are actually on the field, preparing to battle it out in what promises to be an intense conference showdown between two teams with legitimate playoff aspirations and championship dreams. The whole incident serves as yet another reminder of just how much Swift's relationship with Kelce has transformed the landscape of NFL fandom, bringing in legions of new viewers who might never have cared about football before, but now tune in, religiously hoping to catch glimpses of the singer cheering on her boyfriend from luxury suites while wearing custom-made jackets and celebrating touchdowns with the same enthusiasm she brings to sold-out stadium concerts around the world. The phenomenon has created this fascinating intersection of pop culture and sports, where suddenly the tight end position is getting more mainstream attention than it has in decades. Young girls who used to spend their Sundays listening to albums on repeat are now learning about offensive schemes and playoff seeding, and what it means when someone gets double-teamed in the red zone, all because their favorite artist happens to be dating someone who catches footballs for a living. The NFL has been smart enough to capitalize on this unexpected windfall of attention, with broadcasts strategically cutting to shots of Swift whenever she does attend games, knowing full well that those few seconds of screen time generate millions of social media impressions and endless conversations across platforms where football talk and celebrity gossip collide in ways that would have seemed impossible just a couple years ago. Here we are living in a timeline where a tight end's pre-game warm-up routine becomes national news simply because fans are vocally disappointed that his girlfriend isn't in attendance. Kelce handles all of it with remarkable poise, never seeming resentful of the extra attention, even when it occasionally overshadows his actual performance on the field, where he continues to be one of the most productive players at his position and a crucial weapon in the Chiefs' offensive arsenal. If you're enjoying this story, hit that subscribe button, because we're always bringing you the moments everyone's talking about. Back to that moment in the stadium when Kelce raises his hands in apology, because what makes it so perfect is the way it acknowledges the absurdity of the situation without making anyone feel bad about it. Let's be honest, there's something inherently funny about thousands of people showing up to a football game and then loudly demanding to see someone who isn't even a player. Kelce gets that because he's always had this ability to read the room and respond in ways that feel authentic rather than scripted or calculated. That's part of why he's become such a beloved figure, not just in Kansas City, but across the league, even among fans of rival teams who might grudgingly admit that they'd probably like the guy if he didn't keep beating their favorite squads with clutch catches in crucial moments. The incident also highlights how the dynamic between athletes and fans has evolved in the social media age, where every gesture gets captured and analyzed and turned into content that spreads across the internet at lightning speed, so that a simple hand raise during warm-ups becomes a talking point on sports shows and gossip sites and everything in between, creating this feedback loop where the line between sports coverage and entertainment news grows increasingly blurred. Some purists complain that all this attention on off-field relationships distracts from the actual game, but the reality is that sports have always been about more than just what happens between the opening kickoff and final whistle, because we connect with athletes as people, not just as performers. We're naturally curious about their lives beyond the field. Swift's presence or absence has simply amplified that curiosity to unprecedented levels, bringing unprecedented eyeballs to a sport that was already the most popular in America, but now reaches even further into demographics that traditional football marketing never quite managed to capture. The Chiefs organization has been savvy enough to embrace this new reality rather than fighting it, because they understand that anything that generates buzz and brings people into the stadium or gets them watching on television ultimately benefits everyone involved, from the players to the coaches to the front office executives who see merchandise sales and ticket demand reach stratospheric heights. Kelce himself has been the perfect ambassador for this intersection of worlds, because he was already famous in his own right before Swift entered the picture, having won multiple Super Bowls and earned numerous Pro Bowl selections and established himself as one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. He's not someone who needs reflected glory from dating a celebrity, but rather someone who was already a star in his own domain and now finds himself at the center of this cultural moment that transcends sports in ways that few athletes ever experience. He seems to genuinely enjoy it, all the attention and the scrutiny and the constant speculation about where his relationship is heading and whether Swift will be at the next game and what jersey she'll wear if she does show up, because he's always been someone who thrives in the spotlight rather than shying away from it. That confidence and comfort with fame has served him well as he navigates this new chapter of his life, where every move gets dissected by millions of people who care deeply about both football and pop music and want to see this relationship succeed, almost as much as they want to see their team win on Sunday. When those fans chant for Swift during warm-ups, they aren't being disrespectful to Kelce or the team. They are simply expressing their enthusiasm for something that has brought them joy and excitement and given them another reason to care about Chiefs football, even beyond the X's and O's and wins and losses. Kelce understands that, which is why his response is so perfect, because he doesn't get defensive or annoyed. He just acknowledges their feelings with good humor and then gets back to the business of preparing to play football at the highest level. Because at the end of the day, that's still his job and his passion, and the thing he's worked his entire life to master, even if the world around that passion has become infinitely more complicated and fascinating than it was when he first entered the league as a young player just trying to make a roster and prove he belonged among the elite. Now, here he is years later, still performing at an elite level, but also dealing with the reality that his personal life has become public property in ways that few athletes ever experience. Through it all, he keeps showing up and doing the work and handling the pressure with grace. That hand raise in the stadium is just another example of why people love him, because he gets it. He understands that sports are entertainment, and entertainment is about giving people what they want, even when what they want is sometimes surprising, or unconventional, or involves chanting for your girlfriend during pre-game warm-ups. He rolls with it because that's who he is, someone who embraces the moment rather than resisting it.